Thanks for staying with us. Now, Parliament's Standing Committee on Finance will be hosting public hearings on a private member's bill introduced by EFF Leader Julius Malema. Now, the South African Reserve Bank Amendment Bill seeks to nationalise the Reserve Bank. The MK party has also added its voice and support behind this bill. Let's speak now to Omphile Maotwe, who's the EFF's Treasurer General, who's joining us live now. Omphile, thank you so much for your time this evening. Good evening to you. I mean, it's been a few years to get to this particular point. I suppose the party welcomes this latest development?
Thank you, Bongiwe, and the viewers at home. Indeed, we welcome this development. It's victory for us because, as you might be aware, the bill was introduced by the Commander-in-Chief and President Julius Malema back in 2018. And it's really been a struggle to get to where we are. In actual fact, even yesterday it was debated, but why are we resuscitating the bill? But we made it very clear in the committee that for as long as the EFF is represented in Parliament, we'll keep on resuscitating the bill, even if there are attempts to really kill it like yesterday. So yesterday in the meeting we deliberated, we received a brief from the legal services because, as you might be aware, most of us as committee members, we are new. Actually, I think it's only Dr. Joe Masangan, who is an old member, who have been seized with this matter before. So all of us were new. So we just refreshed again from legal. And then we received a very progressive brief also from the Parliamentary Budget Office, which was led by Dr. Dumisani Yankif. Now, in the deliberations yesterday, it became very clear that there is a need to revive the bill. And it was confirmed in the meeting that actually it is revived. And now the issue was, where do we go from here? Because if you remember, back in the days, there was some attempt, really. I call it an attempt because it was not a fully blown public participation. There were few interested bodies that came to present before the committee, and therefore we felt that, look, that's not enough. Let's expand, let's reopen this, let's refresh ourselves, because now we're new administration, new members of parliament, with even new political parties that came on board like the MK. And therefore, let's open the scope for public participation again, so that we can go forward with the bill. There was, I must say,
pardon me for coming in there. You speak about the MK party, and of course this is a matter that, you know, some have been calling you a lone voice as the EFF on this particular matter in Parliament. Now you have the MK party adding its support as part of the Progressive Caucus, but there are some who are saying that you may not have the numbers that are enough to pass this bill should it, you know, go through all the steps. Do you think that you'll be able to jump through this hurdle should you get to it?
You know, to be honest with you, Bongiwe, and that's the sad part about Parliament of late, because these meetings of Parliament are no longer being live streamed, because the public could have seen yesterday. So in the deliberation yesterday from EFF, from MK, even from the ANC, all of us were like, it makes sense to have this bill all the way even passed into law by the president of the country. Only the Democratic Alliance was very, very adamant that we should not go ahead. In actual fact, their argument which they were putting on the table, which is, you know, it's a shame. They were saying, no, the Reserve Bank is actually state-owned. I mean, how can you even think like that? You think we're all not so, I don't want to use the word idiot because people always say maybe we're arrogant, but you think we are not stood up about what is happening at the Reserve Bank to even come and suggest that why are you nationalizing something that is already nationalized? The Reserve Bank is privately owned, and when you out of the 240 Reserve Banks in the world, only 9 are not 100% owned by the state. And out of that 9, only 3 are actually 100% privately owned, and South Africa is one of them. So it's the US, it's Italy, it's South Africa. And we're saying, colleagues, and that's what the debate on the table yesterday, we are not asking you to do something that is not done by the world. 231 reserve banks across the world have got a reserve bank which is state-owned. Are we asking for something that is impossible? Are we unreasonable in our request to say, let the people of South Africa own the reserve bank of this country instead of 800 odd people who majority of them are not South Africans. They are from Europe, they are from US, they are, you know, all over the world. And yet they control what happens in our country. So it can be correct.
Omphile, I'm sure you also have seen that the Democratic Alliance are not the only ones who are opposed to this idea. There are some economists, I'm sure you've seen and heard, who are saying that it's not a good idea to have the monetary policy being controlled by politicians. Some are citing, cases around Venezuela, Zimbabwe as case studies. What do you say to these fiercest critics who are saying that this is not a good idea?
No, we're not asking for Reserve Bank to be owned by politicians. We're asking it to be owned by the people, the 60 million people of South Africa. We are in a democratic state right now. We go to elections every 5 years. The people of South Africa come out in their numbers. They go and vote for which party they must be represented in parliament. We are in parliament to make the laws. We are lawmakers. There's nothing else that we are doing here except to be lawmakers and to hold the executive accountable. It is us who are sent by South Africans here. So who is sending these 800-odd people to represent who actually in our land, in our interest, with our own money? So we're saying let's leave it to the people of South Africa, because I'm here representing the people of South Africa, and so is all 399 other members of parliament. And within the 400 members of parliament, one gets to be elected to be the president of the country. And that president is now seized with constituting a government, which is why he appoints ministers. And one of those ministers is the Minister of Finance. Our money right now, the treasury, the money of South Africa is being managed by the same minister that we are told today that no, you can't give the minister the right to become the shareholder of the Reserve Bank. But the reality is that that minister is holding trillions of our rents. The only problem, Bongiwe, is that the minister is a spectator when it comes to financial sector, because Reserve Bank is at the center of all financial activities in the country. That's why it remains untransformed. We are saying to the people of South Africa that the Reserve Bank is controlled by individuals, including banks. And those banks, sadly, only 5 big banks own 90% of the assets of this country. And that's the big 5 banks.
So
that influence the Reserve Bank. It can't be correct. We want to change that status quo so that we can transform the financial sector that seeks to benefit our people. We even said to Dr. Yankis yesterday, go and do case studies of how the Reserve Banks in these other countries like China, like Russia, and all other 231, don't miss anyone, how they played a central role in the industrialization of the country, how they played a central role in transforming the financial sector of this country. The financial sector is one untapped sector in this country where it still belongs to the hands of the few, those who were actually the champions of apartheid. Anyway, the history behind this Reserve Bank thing is that during the negotiations and the transition between apartheid and democratic dispensation, the oppressors realized that if you lose power of the currency and power to control money, and you also lose property rights, which is why Section 25 speaks about the land, which we want to amend. So we would have lost everything. So the reality is that with the democracy, we have not really gained anything. Property is still in the hands of the few. Financial sector, the economy is owned by the few.
Omphile, as a final question briefly then, when do the public hearings start? Did you set a date as the committee?
We did not finalize on the date, but in the next meeting, which is next week, we're going to have a calendar of events leading up to including when we will be consolidating and wanting to send back into Parliament. Remember, the matter said at the Chief Whips Forum, which then gave way to allow us to have a sitting yesterday, and really the sitting of yesterday was to say, now we have the go-ahead to go and start the public participation, and therefore we'll write to the Speaker and say, Speaker, within a certain period of time, please allow us to do a public participation, and then from public participation we'll come back, and then we'll answer the question of whether this is desirable or not, and then we'll amend the bill
All right.
So we will amend the clause and then we'll send it back to Parliament for signing.
Okay.
But we'll have all that calendar in the next meeting.
All right, Omphile, thank you so much. We'll see that calendar there, and that's Omphile Maotwe, the EFF Treasurer General, joining us live now to talk about this Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Finance. Now, of course, going to be holding public hearings as they look at this particular issue of the amendment of the South African Reserve Bank.